Devaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamutiriye Nashtaprayeshu Vatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 6, the Yadu dynasty retires to Prabhas. Text 15 onwards. So demigods are there in Dwarka and they're offering prayers to Krishna. And see, demigods, when Mother Earth was in trouble, she went to Brahmaji and she went to demigod and Brahmaji, they all went to Shvetadvip, Kshirsagar, to pray to Lord Vishnu. When Krishna appeared in the womb of Mother Devaki, all the demigods were there in the prison house of Kansa, praying to Lord Vishnu, praying to Krishna inside the womb. Then throughout the past times, when Brahmaji was in trouble, when Indra was in trouble, and other places, they always come and offer their prayers. And now when Krishna is winding up his pastime, when Krishna showed his universal form to Arjuna in Mahabharata, they were all there praying. And now Krishna is about to wind up his pastimes and they all came to pray again. So this is the devotion of demigod. This is the beauty of demigod. That's why Krishna, first of all, has appointed them as the administrators and they're very dear to Krishna. Yes, sometimes Indra does something which ultimately ends up in glorifying Krishna. But the point is they're very, very dear to Krishna. So we have no business in disrespecting them, thinking, oh, they're just demigods. We don't need to worship them. Only person we need to worship is Krishna, and that's it. We don't even look at demigod. No, this is disrespect. They are all Vaishnavas. We're supposed to respect them. So further they are praying. Asyasi hetur uday sthiti samyamanam avyakta jiva mahatam api kalamahu soyam trina abhirakhila pachaye pravritaha kalo gabhiraya uttam purushastvam. You are the cause of the creation, maintenance and destruction of this universe. As time, you regulate the subtle and manifest states of material nature and control every living being. As a threshold wheel of time, you diminish all things by your imperceptible actions. And thus, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word Gabhir Raya, or the imperceptible speed and power, is significant. We observe that by the laws of nature, all material things, including our own bodies, gradually disintegrate. Although we can perceive the long-term results of this aging process, we cannot experience the process itself. For example, no one can feel how his hair or fingernails are growing. We perceive the cumulative result of their growth, but from moment to moment, we cannot experience it. Similarly, a house gradually decays until it is demolished. From moment to moment, we cannot perceive exactly how this is happening, but in the course of longer intervals of time, we can actually see the deterioration of the house. So this is the wonderful potency of Supreme Personality of Godhead in its form of time. The word Trinabhi indicates that according to astrological calculation of the sun's movements, the year can be divided into three sections, those represented by Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio, and Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. So this is how the time can be divided. But Krishna says the word Uttam Purusha, Purushottam, is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita because I am transcendental beyond both the fallible and the infallible. And because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that supreme person, so as that Purushottama. So Krishna is Purushottam. Tatta Puman Samadhigamya Yayasya Viryam Dhatte Mahantam Iv Garbham Amogh Viryaha Soyam Tayanugat Atman Andakosham Hemam Sasarja Bahiravaranairupetam. My dear Lord, the original Purusha avatar, Mahavishnu, acquires his creative potency from you. Thus, with infallible energy, he impregnates material nature, producing the Mahatattva. Then the Mahatattva, the amalgamated material energy, endowed with the potency of the Lord, produces from itself the primeval golden egg of the universe, which is covered by various layers of material elements. In the previous verses, the supremacy of the personality of Godhead has been established in relation to the living entity and the material nature. In this verse, it is clearly stated that Lord Krishna is the source of the greatest Vishnu incarnation, Mahavishnu, and that Mahavishnu acquires his creative potency from Lord Krishna. It would therefore be foolish to surmise or to come to the conclusion that Lord Krishna is an expansion of Vishnu, which generally people believe. In this regard, the opinion of the demigods, headed by Brahma, can be taken as final. Tattasthubshascha jagadascha bhavanadhisho yanmayayot guna vikriyayopanitan arthan jushannapi rishikyapate nalipto ye anye swatah parikritadapi bibhyati sma. O Lord, you are the supreme creator of this universe and the ultimate controller of all moving and non-moving living entities. You are Rishikesh, the supreme controller of all sensory activity, and thus you never become contaminated or entangled in the course of your supervision of the infinite sensory activities within the material creation. On the other hand, other living entities, even yogis and philosophers, are disturbed and frightened simply by remembering the material objects that they have supposedly renounced in their pursuit of enlightenment. But Lord, you are never contaminated or entangled in anything. The Supreme Lord Krishna is within the heart of every conditioned soul and guides the living entity in pursuit and experience of sense gratification. The disappointing results of such activities gradually convince the conditioned soul to reject material life and surrender again to the Lord within his heart. Lord Krishna is never affected by the futile attempts of the living entities to enjoy his illusory energy. For the personality of Godhead, there is no possibility of fear or disturbance because nothing is ultimately separate from him. We get afraid of losing something and we get disturbed when we lose something material. But everything is his energy. He is not attached to it, and he has no fear or disturbance because everything belongs to him. But at the same time, he's not attached. He doesn't enjoy the material energy at all anyway. Smayav lokalav darshita bhavahari dhrumandal prahita sauratan mantra shondha patnyastu shodha sahasra mananga baner yasendriyam vimatitum karner navibhavyaha. My Lord, you are living with 16,000 exquisitely beautiful aristocratic wives. By their irresistible coy and smiling glances and by their loving arching eyebrows, they send you messages of eager conjugal love. But they are completely unable to disturb the mind and senses of your Lordship. In the previous verse, it was clearly stated that no material object can attract the senses of the Lord. Now, in this verse, it is demonstrated that the Lord has no desire to enjoy even spiritual sense gratification. Krishna is complete in himself, he is a reservoir of all pleasure, and he does not lust after anything material or spiritual. The argument may be given that Krishna, in order to please his wife Satyabhama, stole a Parijat flower from heaven, and thus appeared to be a hen-pecked husband under the control of his loving wife. But although Krishna is sometimes conquered by the love of his devotees, he is never influenced by the desire to enjoy like an ordinary, lusty, materialistic person. The non-devotees cannot understand the overwhelming loving feelings exchanged between the Lord and his pure devotees. Krishna may be conquered by our intense love for him, and thus pure devotees can control the Lord. But that is different, him being conquered by a loving service, intense love. For example, the elderly gopis in Vrindavan clap their hands in different rhythms to make Krishna dance, and in Dwarka, Satyabhama ordered Krishna to bring her a flower as proof of his love for her. As stated in Srinivasa Acharya's song to the six Goswamis, Gopi Bhava Rasam Ritabdi Lahati Kallola Magano. The love between the Lord and his pure devotees is an ocean of spiritual bliss. But at the same time, Krishna remains completely self-satisfied. Krishna indifferently gave up the company of the incomparable young damsels of Brajbhumi, the gopis, and went to Mathura at the request of his uncle Akrura. Thus, neither the gopis of Vrindavan nor the queens of Dwarka could arouse an enjoying spirit in Krishna. When all is said and done, pleasure in this world means sex, but this mundane sexual attraction is simply a perverted reflection of the transcendental loving affairs between Krishna and his eternal associates in the spiritual world. The gopis of Vrindavan are unsophisticated village girls, whereas the queens in Dwarka are aristocratic young ladies. But both the gopis and the queens are overwhelmed with love for Krishna. As the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna displays the highest perfection of beauty, strength, wealth, fame, knowledge, and renunciation, and is thus completely satisfied by his own supreme position. He reciprocates spiritual loving affairs with the gopis and queens simply for their sake. Only fools think that Lord Krishna could be attracted by the perverted illusory pleasures to which we poor conditioned souls are so blindly attached. Because our viewpoint, our consciousness, our thought process is limited by our consciousness. And we think what I can enjoy, what I want to enjoy, Krishna also must be enjoying them. Because we see Krishna through those glasses that are covering our eyes. But Krishna is not like that. Krishna is completely renounced. He could be in the middle of the gopis, but he could be renounced. There is a beautiful pastime. Maybe sometime we'll do Vrindavan Parikrama one of these days. So there is a place called Pani Ghat. And Yamuna ji used to flow at that because it's a ghat. So Yamuna ji used to flow over there. So once gopis found out that Durvasa Muni had come and he is on the other side of Yamuna at Pani Ghat. So they desired to go and serve him and get his blessings. So when they were going, Yamuna was overflowing water. So they could not cross. So somebody told them that, okay, you answer one question, and if you answer it properly, Yamuna ji will subside. Her waters will go down. Okay, so the question was, is Krishna a Bal Brahmachari? And the gopis, yes, Krishna is Bal Brahmachari. And the Yamuna water subsided and they crossed. They went to serve Durvasa Rishi. On the way back, again, the Yamuna was overflowing. And then again, a question was asked, did Durvasa Muni eat whatever you offered him? And the answer was no, he did not eat. And they came, and the water subsided, and they came back. And now they, I believe they met Purnamasi, and they were confused. Is Krishna Bala Brahmachari? He's always with the gopis. How can he be Bal Brahmachari? Brahmachari means no connection at all with the ladies. And they were told, although Krishna could be with you, but he has no connection. He is Bal Brahmachari. And then they said, we ourselves fed Durvasa Muni all the milk products, and how can you say he did not eat anything? Well, then they got the vision that within Durvasa Muni there was Krishna sitting, who was eating everything that gopis offered. So Durvasa Muni ate, but he did not eat at the same time. So this is Krishna. He is Bal Brahmachari. Even Bhishma Pitama, he prayed to the Lord and he said, you are the real Brahmachari. I have taken a vow of Brahmachari. So I don't even go near women. But you are always with women, but still you are a Brahmachari. You control yourself. You're not attracted by them. But that doesn't mean he doesn't perform his Raslila pastimes and other pastimes. There are so many intimate pastimes with gopis, especially Srimati Radharani. But this is all to please them, for their sake. And that's why it is mentioned here. Therefore, everyone should recognize the supreme transcendental position of the personality of Godhead and surrender to him. That is a clear implication of this statement by the demigods. Vibhavyast tavamrit kathod vahas trilokya padavanejya saritah shamlani hantum anushravam shrutibhirangri angrijamanga sangas tirthadvayam shuchish dasta upsprishanti. The nectar-bearing rivers of discussions about you, and also the holy rivers generated from the bathing of your lotus feet, are able to destroy all contamination within the three worlds. Those who are striving for purification associate with the holy narrations of your glories by hearing them with their ears, and they associate with the holy rivers flowing from your lotus feet by physically bathing in them. So this is the way we can get purified. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur states, Anushravam Guror Ucharanam Anushruyante. One should hear about Krishna by hearing from the spiritual master. The bona fide spiritual master describes the pastimes, potencies, and incarnations of the personality of Godhead to his disciple. If the spiritual master is bona fide, and if the disciple is sincere and obedient, then the communication between guru and disciple is just like nectar, both for the guru and the disciple. Ordinary persons cannot even imagine the special pleasure experienced by the devotees of the Lord. Such nectarian speaking and hearing destroys all contamination within the heart of a conditioned soul, the primary contamination being the desire to live without serving Krishna. So this katha, hearing the narrations and taking bath the rivers flowing from a lotus feet, that is Ganges, or Yamuna also, because Yamuna, Krishna performed so many pastimes by bathing in Yamuna, and Krishna also married Kalindi, that is Yamuna personified. So that also purifies one. And in fact, in our yatra at Brahmand Ghat, we would have the opportunity of bathing in Yamuna if the water is nice, clean. Anyway, coming back to the Bhagavatam. The other nectar described here is Charnamrita, the nectarian waters that bathe the Lord's feet. Lord Vamandev bathed his own lotus foot by kicking a hole in the universal covering so that the sacred Ganges water washed his toes and fell into the universe. The Yamuna River also washed Krishna's lotus feet when the Lord appeared on this planet 5,000 years ago. Krishna sported daily with his boyfriends and girlfriends in the Yamuna River, and consequently, the river is also Charnamrit. One should therefore try to take bath in Ganges or Yamuna. In fact, it is mentioned in scriptures that bathing in Yamuna is 1,000 times more purifying than bathing in the Ganges. Why? Because Krishna himself sported daily in Yamuna's water. But then again, Acharya said because Ganges was, Mother Ganga was feeling sad that Krishna did not give her the mercy, although she came as Manasi Ganga in Govardhan, and Krishna did perform pastime there, but not as much as Yamuna got the mercy. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was coming, then he said, okay, I'll give you the mercy. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or Nimai, when he was in Mayapur, daily he would go and bathe and play with his friends in the Ganges water. So they both are very, very purifying. But at the same time, we can accept Charnamrit. Every morning in ISKCON temples, the lotus feet of the deity of Krishna are bathed, and the water thus sanctified is also called Charnamrit, the nectar of Krishna's lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada taught his disciples and followers to come before the deities each morning and drink 3 drops of Charnamrit from the deities bathing. So that's also for our purification. In all these ways, one can purify his heart and relish spiritual bliss. When one is fixed on the platform of spiritual bliss, then one does not need to take another birth one does not take another birth in the material world. So this is the whole process. We just have to keep on purifying our consciousness. And not just Charnamrit, we take Prashadam, which is offered to the Lord, and then we accept it, we honor it. And that is also very, very purifying. So all these processes are given so that we can make progress spiritually. Shri Badarayana Ruvacha Iti Abhishtuya Vibudha Sesha Shat Dhritir Harim Abhyabhashat Govindam Pranamyambaram Ashritaha. Shri Shukdev Goswami continued, after Brahma, along with Lord Shiva and the demigods, thus offered prayers to the Supreme Lord Govinda, Lord Brahma situated himself in the sky and addressed the Lord as follows. Shri Brahma Vacha, Bhumir Bharavataraya, Pura Vigyapita Prabhu, Tvam Asmabhir Sheshatman, Tathavopadipaditam. Lord Brahma said, my dear Lord, previously we requested you to remove the burden of the earth. O unlimited personality of Godhead, that request has certainly been fulfilled. Lord Krishna might have said to the demigods, actually you requested Kshirodaksha Vishnu to come down. So why are you saying that you requested me? After all, I'm Govinda. Therefore, Brahma has addressed the Lord here as Asheshatma, or the unlimited personality of Godhead, from whom all plenary expansions of Vishnu emanate. This is the opinion of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. See, here he says, Brahmaji says, so unlimited personality of Godhead. See, every word is important. Dharmascha sthapita satsu satya sandheshu vatvaya kirtischa dikshu vikshipta sarva lokamalapaha. My Lord, you have re-established the principles of religion among pious men who are always firmly bound to the truth. You have also distributed your glories all over the world, and thus the whole world can be purified by hearing about you. Avatire yadorvanshe vibhrad rupam anuttamam karmani uddama vrittani hitaya jagatu akrita. Descending into the dynasty of King Yadu, you have manifested your unique transcendental form. And for the benefit of the entire universe, you have executed magnanimous transcendental activities. Yani te charitani manushya sadhva kalo shanvanta kirtayantascha tarishyantyanjasa tamaha. My dear Lord, those pious and saintly persons who in the age of Kali hear about your transcendental activities and also glorify them will easily cross over the darkness of the age. But Kali Yuga, unfortunately, in Kali Yuga, many persons are not attracted by the authorized Vedic literatures. Minimizing the transcendental process of hearing and chanting the glories of the personality of Godhead, they prefer to listen to useless and whimsical vibrations on the radio and televisions, in newspapers, magazines, and we can add internet also, and so on. Rather than hear about Krishna from the bona fide spiritual master, they endlessly give their own opinions about everything until they are dragged away by the force of time. After studying the temporary limited forms of the material world, they impatiently conclude that the absolute truth is formless. Such persons are actually worshipping Krishna's illusory energy, Maya, who has been authorized to kick their stubborn heads. If instead people hear directly about Krishna from the bona fide resources, they will very easily solve all the problems of their lives. This is what Brahmaji is saying, that they will hear about you. Those pious and saintly persons, they hear and glorify you and easily cross over the darkness of this age. The Lord appears within this universe so that people can observe, hear about, and glorify His actual activities. In this difficult age of Kali, we should all seriously take advantage of this opportunity. So, by mercy of Prabhupada, we are all taking advantage of this opportunity. And we can only pray to Krishna, pray to Prabhupada that we just keep hearing about him, about Krishna, till the last day of our life. That's all our prayer should be. Okay, so we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, 3 drops of Chandamrit, why this is so specific for 3 drops?
You can take more, but generally that spoon with which they give Charnamrit, it is that half circle, so technically it contains 3 drops.
Achha, okay.
You can take more if you want to.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.